Hello Cancer, WTF. Let's get some love. Let's get some donations going for Perry and Lindsay. So please, you guys have been amazing. We appreciate it. We definitely love you guys for all that you have done. Please just reach deep into your pockets one more time and help us raise a little bit of money for Perry and Lindsay Johnson. And I think we are about ready to get the idiosyncrasy files in here. And where did my chat go? What happened to my chat? Still people watching.
What happened to the cat?
Does that cat see that rat? Does that bat?
I say no, dirty rat, dirty rat.
No. Here. I mean, right off the bat, destruction in human form. Jared Taylor with $100 for Perry and Lindsay Johnson. Absolutely amazing. Bulldozer, $10. $10 for Perry and Lindsay Johnson. Absolutely amazing. You guys are awesome. And we have, you can see the little indicator right up above my head that the idiosyncrasy files are ready to come in. These fine gentlemen have also requested to have an image added onto the stream, which I'm going to go ahead and do. Well,
still moving.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, now let's take a moment to welcome the idiosyncrasy files to the... What in the hell is up with that? Oh, I got to make the screen bigger. There we go. That works much better. Thank you very much. Can you guys hear me twice? That works much better. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, so is that... Can you guys hear me twice now, or
what
is that okay?
What the hell is
now?
up with that?
I have to bring myself into the segment in the fourth window, and then I have to cover it up with something. But, gentlemen, can you guys hear me twice? How are you today?
What the hell is up with that? We're hearing...
I have to bring myself...
I hear an echo, Nick.
In the fourth window. Where's that echo coming from? Where are you coming from? Echo,
yes.
Echo.
Hey, can you hear us?
We're hearing. Yep, I can hear you.
I can hear an echo, Nick.
Check. Sound.
Should we mute on Discord or no mute on Discord?
You guys aren't in the channel with us on Discord, so it shouldn't matter. Are you guys watching the stream? Do you have the stream up, watching it in the background? I still hear me, but it sounds like I'm being played over a speaker.
No, I don't hear Nick at all. Do you guys hear me?
Yes, you can hear Justin.
Yes, but we're like 30 seconds delayed.
All right, you should be able to hear me now.
I hear you now.
Thank you very much for your $15 donation again for Perry and Lindsay Johnson. Hello, Cancer, WTF. So, can everybody hear me now?
I hear you now. Thank you very much for your $15. Can you hear us?
Yes.
No. Oh, okay.
You can?
Yes. I can hear you guys.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's better.
Okay, that is way better. Okay, we're ready.
Sorry.
Hello!
So busy switching so many different things over right now, trying to get everything working. So, finally, officially, gentlemen, welcome to the live stream for The Cure. Please take a moment and tell our audience what the Idiot Syncracy Files is all about.
Well, first of all, we want to congratulate you guys on making the goal and above.
Congratulations!
Thank you. If you know how good it feels like to not only hit that goal but surpass it, it feels incredible. So grateful to everybody out there.
Yeah, when the ticker was like at 4,900, like 999, were you just like, please, like just trying to literally push it over the edge?
Right? That was my fear. I was like, no way are we going to get to like 4,900, and then people are going to be like,
close enough.
I had a great feeling about it, honestly, because last year we did struggle a little bit to hit our goal, and we did not get there. And I know Nick was a little bit disappointed by it, and he kind of took it onto himself and almost blamed himself in a way. And this year, I just had a great feeling about it. After Friday night, we just saw where we were already at, and it was insane. It was amazing to see the people coming out and supporting such a great cause. And I know I almost came to tears on numerous occasions over this weekend.
That's shout fantastic. Out to Adam from the Odd Dad Out podcast for his donation of $30 going to Perry and Lindsay. But yeah, because we already reached the goal and you guys are on, we figured we were just going to start raising money for Perry and Lindsay even earlier, which
sounds good to us.
That's fantastic.
Take that microphone stand.
The piano. whenever you said our name, and right then, it was a few minutes ago, you put up a picture of Perry and Lindsay, and I'm such an idiot that I actually thought it was us for a second. And I was like, my hair is fantastic. Like, what happened? And then I was like, oh yeah.
So,
anyway, should we do our regular intro?
Yeah. So we're BSP, the Idiot Syncracy Files.
We are the podcast where two idiots debate weird phenomena.
So I'm Chris. I'm the believer.
I'm Cody. I am the skeptic.
And today we're just going to do kind of a shortened version of our regular show, just so the audience gets an idea of what we're all about.
The floor is yours, gentlemen.
What side y'all are on?
Yeah,
and that'll be fun.
So chime in whenever you guys want. Any of that good stuff.
Yeah. All right. So,
do you want me to start? Or do you want to start?
Well, so we're going to talk about a local legend.
Yeah.
And so we typically find a phenomenon when we discuss it and share stories, but Chris wanted me to pronounce it.
Well, yeah. So we're in Arizona, as you know, in Phoenix. So we thought we'd do something that is a bit local to us, like he said. So we'll be talking about a cryptid that is known to our state and that many have said they have encountered. So do you want to tell them what we're looking at?
Well, and you said that like many have encountered it. I'd never heard of this until Chris was like, hey, let's do something local so it would be like more about us. How about we do this? And he sends me this and I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I said it and he laughed. So he told me that I have to pronounce it before he's going to do the correct pronunciation. So it is spelled Mogollon. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is. And so my head, seeing that, goes back to that old 80s show, Eureka's Castle, or 80s, 90s. It was like
oh my God.
Show. And it had like this dragon on it. He was so stinking cute.
I remember.
And his name was Magellan.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I am forever calling him Magellan. The Magellan monster is what I think it's going to be. And he's laughing, so I know that's not right. So Magellan monster.
Yeah, and that's why I asked you first, because I wanted to see how you would pronounce it. I looked online, actually, and there are several pronunciations. Some say Mogollon, some say Mogollon, but I'm inclined to pronounce it in the Spanish way, which is Mogollon.
Mogollon.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Mogollon monster, who has been said to have similarities to Bigfoot.
So it's like the Bigfoot of Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and before we get into, I guess, your description.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Oh, so we have to do drink reveals. So every episode we find a themed alcohol that goes with our topic. I think like every podcast does that now. It's like your excuse to drink, which is fine with me. So this time, Chris actually picked this out.
Yeah, so we decided, since we're doing Arizona and the Mogollon Rim, where the monster is kind of across Arizona, so we picked different beers from across different breweries across Arizona. So
Wet Snout Peanut Butter Stout.
That's for you.
Oh my God, that looks fantastic.
So here we go.
Okay, I'm doing this right now. That's going to be great.
And I have an American Pilsner from the Grand Canyon.
Woo! All right, I'm ready. I haven't eaten today, so that sip, I'm already buzzed. So let's do it. Okay, so before we get into the description, so what I did is I thought it would be fun for this one that based on just the name and not knowing anything about it, I wanted to draw what I think the Magellan monster looks like. And so basically, I'm going to share that. So here's my inspiration, because this is all I have. Every time I hear the name, I think of Magellan from Eureka's Castle. That's what we have. And notice the creepiest thing about him is he's got one snaggle tooth, like one rounded tooth and an overbite. So when he bites, it like doesn't even clamp down on the food. That's all I have. So this is my drawing, what I think the Magellan monster looks like.
Okay.
And I drew this. So it's kind of Magellan, but notice that I gave him, in addition to his, he gave him some fangs and a giant bloody fang. And then his T-shirt that he wears, his shirt, actually has dead animals. So like a kitten and an elephant and a dog. Because I figure that, he's like every time we end up doing a cryptid or a creature, they end up being evil and they end up hurting people. And so this, guys, you don't have to look online anymore. This is what the Mogollon monster looks like. All right.
That's Instagram worthy.
Yeah, let's see how close I am. All right. Description.
So our facts and findings about the Mogollon monster is he's a cryptid that has been said to be seen in central and eastern Arizona along the Mogollon Rim. The Mogollon Rim runs 200 miles through Arizona, ending on the New Mexico border.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. As I stated previously, it's usually described as a Bigfoot or ape-like creature, but as often with these creatures, descriptions vary. The Mogollon monster is said to be a bipedal humanoid that is over 7 feet tall, has inhuman strength, and is said to have red, wild eyes.
Inhuman strength, not superhuman. That's inhuman.
It says that's what I got.
So he has the strength of a not human.
Yeah, he's not human. So
okay. All right, I get it.
Damn! It is said the monster is covered in reddish-brown hair, except for the chest, face, hands, and feet, and often described with a long beard as well. It smells horrendous. Reports vary, stating it can smell like dead fish, a skunk with bad body odor, a decaying peat musk, and this one, I was like, what the fuck?
If you say my name.
The musk of a snapping turtle.
What?
I have no idea.
How do people know what the fuck that smells like? Like, I'm just imagining someone like going up to a turtle and being like, this is going to be fun. And then like taking a big look. So he's a Bigfoot, but he has no hair on his face. So his face is
He's
hairless.
like Harry and the Henderson. Remember, he didn't have hair on his face.
He didn't?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, but he does have a super long beard.
Yeah.
So it's like Rip Van Winkle. Yeah. Okay, and he's like, I'm old.
He's said to be nocturnal, omnivorous, very territorial, and can be violent. It is said to walk with a wide, inhuman stride, leaving behind footprints that can measure up to 22 inches. The monster... Yeah.
I think it's like Shaq, just in disguise, like Shaquille O'Neal, like walking through Arizona, like trying to freak people out.
He did go to the University of Phoenix,
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, fantastic.
The monster is said to mimic the sound of animals, but also has a blood-curdling scream that sounds like a woman in extreme distress.
Okay, and what would that sound like? I think we need an example.
I am not going to do that.
What do you think?
No.
Okay.
The oldest documented sighting of the Mogollon monster goes back to 1903 by I.W. Stevens. That was published in the Arizona Republic, a daily newspaper in Arizona, and I think Cody's going to discuss that later.
Oh, yeah.
And there was another significant sighting from a cryptozoologist named Don Davis. Of course, there have been sightings from a lot of other people, including people from the local Native American reservation have made claims of seeing the creature and tell many stories about it. The Mogollon monster has become a legend of local lore. The monster has become such a legend that since 2012 in Pine, Arizona, every year a trail race takes place called the Mogollon Monster 100, which is a monster in its own right. It is an endurance race of 106 miles that goes through the Mogollon Rim. Fuck that. I can barely run like 5 miles, much less.
Oh, do you have to like cosplay the Mogollon monster? Hey, I said it. I just said it without thinking about it.
That would be amazing. That's probably where all that evidence comes from.
This is me running the marathon. Like in my cosplay.
All right, so those are my facts. So
that is crazy. I still just think it's interesting or weird that given all this, like the Mogollon Rim is 200 miles long, and I've never even heard of that. Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. That whole word, I feel like we did an episode of Mandela Effect.
And this is
talking about
Mandela
alternate
effect.
universes, and I feel like in this alternate universe, instead of the Grand Canyon, there's this Mogollon Rim. Rim. Wow. I can't believe I messed that up.
Drink more beer.
I like Rim.
Just kidding, sorry. Gross.
All right, so now at this point.
That's look, Perry and Lindsay, that's a long rim job, of course.
Perry, that's exactly what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it, so now I can. I actually was going to do a joke picture after my drawing, and it was basically just going to be like a picture of a hairy butt to mess with people, to be funny. But then I was like, I don't know what you get banned on Twitch or whatever for, so I'm like, I'm just not going to do it.
So, first story, Cody.
Is all right. So first story, I guess I'll go first because
that's
I kind of do the
first
older
story,
ones.
Cody.
I'm the smart one on the podcast. All right, so I'm actually going to share a couple stories about those first people who saw the Mogo and what is happening. This cat or something is going crazy over there on Nick's camera. I'm going to talk about the first stories or the first people who actually saw the Mogollon monster.
Okay.
So the one who's actually given credit, his name is Don Davis, and he is a cryptozoologist, and he actually got a doctorate in cryptozoology from MIT. And I made that up because cryptozoology is crap. So his encounter was actually kind of the first accepted encounter with the Mogollon monster. Mm-hmm. And he said that he witnessed it, the tall, hairy beast. And actually, when I read that, I kind of got turned on. But he saw it during a Boy Scout trip in the 1940s when he was about 13. So he was sitting there camping, and something in the night woke him up. And he thought it was just another Boy Scout. So he basically yelled at it and then went and looked. And this is what he saw. There, standing still, less than 4 feet in front of me, was a monster-like man. The creature was huge. Its eyes were deep-set and hard to see, but they seemed expressionless. His chest, shoulders, and arms were massive, especially the upper arms. And this is my favorite part, or one of mine. There's two for this one. That his upper arms, it said easily upwards of 6 inches in diameter. Like, who measures a bicep in diameter? I'm like, he's already crazy. I've already discounted his story because he's sitting there stabbing through a bicep and saying, like, this is 6 inches. You know, like, who does that? And then he also said, crazy cryptos. But he also said, to your point, that he reported being overwhelmed by the incredible odor, although at first he had simply thought he messed his sleeping bag. and it's so casual. Like, I love that. Like, it's like, oh, he just thought that.
Guess who sure
that? Exactly. For the 80th night in a row, he just thought he shit himself. And then he realized that it was the Mogollon monster. So I just feel like that story is just ridiculous. But even before that, there's another account from the guy I.W. Stevens, who you mentioned. Yeah. And this was in 1903. And this is actually
Davis
the first
was before 1903?
Davis was 1940. Davis is the first accepted one. This guy, I guess, is even the crazier guy who they think he's just the weird one. But he actually said that he saw a wild man having long hair and matted beard that reached his knees. When he approached for a closer look, Stevens saw the creature wore no clothing. So it kind of makes you wonder if the Mogollon monster, like how hung he is. Like, is that like a trait? And no one ever described that. And so just me, I'm just curious. But he had it was all the descriptions, talons and all this crap. But it said here that what I thought was fun is that he went on to tell the person who he was telling the story to that the creature threatened him with a large club, probably not his penis, and screamed the wild, most unearthly scream he had ever heard. After Stevens discovered the beast drinking the blood of 2 cougars that he had just beaten to death.
Like 2 women?
I literally, for a second, was like, no, cougars. Exactly. That is hysterical. When I first read because the way the sentence is phrased, I thought Stevens himself had beat the cougars to death. And I'm like, what the fuck? But then I was like, oh, the creature did. But he basically just sat there and watched this creature beating a cougar to death, 2 of them, and then drinking the blood. And he doesn't run away.
Yeah.
He like walks out and he's like doodly doodly doo. And he's like, hey guy. Like it's just crazy. So yeah, so that's my stories.
So my first story is a quote unquote true encounter I found off online. Cody almost did this one, but I told him not to.
Okay.
So
it was a good one.
This first person narrative where he says, before I get started, I am Kyle. I don't live in Arizona. I just went there to hunt. This story happened at Mogollon Rim in Arizona in 1995. If you don't know where it is 185 miles south of the Grand Canyon. Now, let me get started. I was about 14 or 15. My Uncle Fred and my Uncle Mort took me hunting at Mogollon Rim.
Uncle Mort.
I believe we were hunting deer. When we got there, we found a good spot to camp, and we got set up. We were planning on staying there for 5 days, and then we were going to move down near Flagstaff and hunt there for a few days. On the second night, we were sleeping in our tents when we heard a little rustling outside. We all headed outside to see what it was, but whatever it was, got into our cooler and took some food. Then Uncle Fred said, damn raccoons. Then Uncle Mort said, Fred, that was no raccoon. Then they got into an argument.
That was no raccoon.
On the third day, we went out to find deer, and as we were walking, Uncle Mort pointed at something in the distance. Uncle Fred looked out his scope and saw a dead deer. We ran up to it and saw something that gave me chills. We saw this thing. It was eating the deer. It looked like a Bigfoot, but it was smaller. It had what looked like a big white beard down to its knees. Its hands were bare naked, and its nails were like claws that were 2 inches long. This thing looked at us, got up, and this thing didn't act like a Bigfoot. It acted more human than anything. The thing picked up a club of some sort and started swinging it at us.
Oh my God.
And we backed up, and the thing ran into the woods. Uncle Fred took aim at the thing and shot. Then there was a blood-curdling scream. It was so long, we all had to plug our ears. Uncle Fred definitely shot it. We didn't stay there another night. We packed up and left right when we got back to camp. A couple of days ago, I looked up Arizona Bigfoot, and the Mogollon monster popped up. And as I read the description, I knew that was the thing that I saw that day.
Oh my God. So I have to wonder, I guess, if you're really one of these people that goes after this, why didn't they pick up some of its blood and like take it to a scientist or something? Like you could have, for the first time ever, like you have real evidence, but also if they didn't know what it was, to them it was probably some human, just some old man, and they shot it. So like fucking hunters, like what are you doing?
That's a nice segue. So tell us your skeptic.
Oh, okay. All right. So believer skeptic. This is where we talk about, we either debunk or talk about why we believe in it. So I'm always the skeptic, always.
Not always. There was one time.
There was one, Mandela effect. But I feel like a lot of this stuff is just bullshit. And I try to find reasons why. And I actually found something here that I thought was really interesting. And I love when I find stuff that I don't know, which is basically everything. But my debunk on this, and this is really cool, and you actually said it earlier, something that I latched onto, which was great, is that the most common theory about all these Bigfoot creatures is that there's some kind of undiscovered species of primate like an ape. And you actually said that that's what people think it is. Mm-hmm. It's like ape-like, but more intelligent and maybe more evolved than any we know of. So some even call Mogollon or Bigfoot or whatever, they call them North American great apes. No, that's all theory. That's just theory. But here's the problem, and I'm going to stroke my long beard to my knees as I read this. Did you know this? There are no apes in the Americas, not just North, but in the Americas, and no evidence that apes have ever existed in the Americas. Any ape. There are monkeys in South America.
That would give me evidence to think more that there is, because since they're so rare here, that's why nobody can catch the Bigfoot.
But I feel like whenever you say, though, like there were monkeys in South America, but they're very different than old world monkeys. Yeah. And you have like 40 million years of evolution separating them, but there's no evidence about apes. And that's the thing, like in 40, 50, whatever million. Isn't there doing an ape? I like it. It made me burn.
Man in a suit, it's a real gorilla.
It's a real gorilla. But I feel like if you've never had evidence of any ape, no bones, no fossils, or anything of any apes at all in the history of North America, then I feel like that basically says this is not an ape. It's something else, if anything. And I had a couple of other debunks lined up about what else it could be, but I'm going to leave it with apes because of time, because I want to hear your believer. But that was something that I was like, there's no apes ever that are indigenous to the Americas? Like, did you know that?
No.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So, as he said, I'm the believer. So,
Do you believe?
I know this is going to sound like a cop out, like something I've always says, but I believe that there are creatures out there that we are unaware of. I mean, there's such an abundance of witnesses to Bigfoot and the Mogollon monster and stories to say otherwise. How can so many unrelated people all see the same thing and it not be real? Also, the creature has been in stories by Native Americans for centuries, so to say such creatures do not exist is to discredit their stories as far as the creatures go.
Interesting.
I read an article in Psychology Today in which I agree with the writer. He believes in the possibility of Bigfoot and says, it could turn out that Bigfoot is another example of a creature that was believed to be a myth but turned out to be reality. The giant squid, the platypus, and the okapi are examples. I think it's because there have been so many hoaxes that makes people so skeptical. But at the same time, there has been evidence of things such as an animal hair that has been unidentifiable, which we could possibly attribute to the creatures. Very much like the writer on Psychology Today article, I don't know if such a creature exists, but I believe in the possibility. And totally with him when he says, the inkling that something so exotic exists, that there are more things in heaven and earth that are dreamt of in my philosophy fills me with wide-eyed wonder. And philosophy, after all, begins with wonder.
Dun, dun. Ooh, good. That's a good one. He literally almost did a hair flip whenever he finished that. I could see it coming. He was like, I actually had some, we need to do a longer episode on this because I actually have stuff that addresses the Native Americans and their beliefs and like some debunk around that. So that'd be fascinating. But I actually want to hear what they think because I saw you nodding along whenever Chris was reading that. So do y'all believe? Like, what do y'all think?
I'm one that loves hearing about this kind of stuff. I've always believed. I remember the first time that I read anything about Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, I was in like 4th grade at school. I took out the only book in the library that had anything to do with like legends of Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster. I like to believe that there is something else out there. And we won't even get started with aliens because we could do a whole day worth of that because I most definitely believe in aliens. But I mean, I just actually recently watched a documentary, not a documentary, but like it was a mini episode on YouTube done by Dan Bell. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Dan Bell, but he did something. He was in the Everglades in Florida, and he did a thing on the skunk ape. Yeah, you've heard of the skunk ape? I assumed that you were.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
I never have.
Yeah.
So the skunk ape is basically exactly the same thing you guys just described. It's also just like it's basically the Florida's version of Bigfoot, and it also came from Native American legend. So they honor that, and there's videos on YouTube of the skunk ape, and you could. But I think as a kid, I believed more in Bigfoot than I do now. I've watched pretty much every single documentary, every single clip that you could find on Bigfoot. And I think the evidence leads more to this isn't real than it is. But in the back of my head, I still like to believe there are things out there only because, in the sense that there are things that we discover every year that are alive on this planet that we knew nothing about. They look crazy. So I would like to believe that it's real, but
I like that because, and I even say like in some of our episodes that I'm skeptical because I'm a proof person, but I want to believe. I want to believe in a lot of this. And especially when we talk about, like, if we do anything more spiritual, I'm always like, my whole family is Catholic. I grew up Catholic and I would like to believe, but I just need proof of it. And that's just kind of how I am. You know what I mean?
Were you like that as a kid with Santa Claus? I got to ask.
I believed in Santa Claus until I was like 15.
No way.
Oh my God. My family got the biggest kick because like my voice had changed and I was a bass already. And I'm like, when is Santa coming? I don't know.
Yeah. So usually too, we end our episodes with some kind of random ass piece of news or current event that has to do with our topic. And I found one that fucking made me laugh my ass off. It's California woman Claudia Ackley is suing the state for, get this, not acknowledging Bigfoot's existence.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
She has claimed to have a few encounters with the creature, but when she called park services about one of her sightings, they didn't believe her, telling her it was probably a bear. She states she felt embarrassed about this, and as a result, she filed a lawsuit against the California Department of Fish and Wildlife and the State Natural Resources Agency. She says she is suing because both departments have been careless in their duty by not acknowledging the existence of Bigfoot.
This is why we don't webcam, because I just sit there like this, like you have the episode. That's crazy. So yeah, that's BSP.
Yeah.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. So tell our audience where in the world, on the World Wide Web, we can find your show. You guys are awesome. That was really, really fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad you.
Thank you guys for having us. That was awesome. So. You can find us, our website's bspodphx.com, and you can find us on pretty much any platform at bspodphx.com. Twitter, we don't really use Facebook that much, but Twitter and Instagram is bspodphx.
bspodphx for Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to say that.
And Cody?
Oh, and me. So I always have to do my shout out because, as you may have probably not guessed, I'm actually gay. Talking about the Mongolian monster being hot, but I'm actually an LGBTQ author, and I've written a young adult series called The Gay Teen's Guide to Defeating Siren. So this is my novel. This is book 2 in the series. And so if there's anyone out there, it's fiction, it's fun, but it's meant to be an escape and just provide hope and someone that LGBT people can relate to, because it's nice to have people in fiction and in movies that you can see. And it's like, this person is like me. And so the books are on Amazon. You can go find them, reach out to me. I love talking to people. And that's something that I always like to call out, which is why I even had my Blaze Your Own Trails gay t-shirt.
That's
right. And I was lucky. My shirt came in the mail yesterday.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love seeing people wearing that.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It was so much fun.
Thanks a lot.
You guys are just absolutely amazing. Thank you. Thank you so very much for joining us.